People often ask me what the strangest thing we found inside Marker 13 was. They expect me to say the cabin, or the giant tree, or the creature that copied our voices. They're always surprised when I tell them the answer. It was a staircase, just a staircase, standing completely alone in the middle of the forest. No house, no cabin, no ruins, no foundation, nothing. Just 13 old wooden steps rising out of the earth, leading to absolutely nowhere. If we had simply walked past it, everything that happened afterward could have been avoided. But curiosity has a way of destroying people. It had been almost 2 days since Ethan and I saw the giant tree that seemed to exist everywhere at once. Neither of us spoke much anymore. Fear had replaced conversation. Survival had replaced hope. The forest no longer felt like a place. It felt like something alive, something thinking, something waiting for us to make another mistake. We were following a dried-up creek when Ethan suddenly stopped. Ryan. His voice cracked. I looked up, and there it was, a staircase, standing in a small clearing bathed in pale afternoon light. At first glance, it looked completely ordinary. Old oak wood, worn handrails, 13 narrow steps, a small landing at the top. Then, nothing. The staircase ended in empty air. There was no building attached to it, no platform, no reason for it to exist. It simply stood there, untouched by time. Neither of us moved. The forest around it was unnaturally quiet. No birds, no insects, not even the wind. It was as if nature itself refused to go near it. "What is that?" I whispered. Ethan didn't answer. His eyes never left the staircase. Finally, after nearly a minute, he spoke. "My grandfather warned me about these." I turned toward him. "What do you mean?" "He called them the Forgotten Stairs." I waited for him to continue. Instead, he slowly backed away. "We're leaving." That should have been the end of it. It should have been. But then I noticed something carved into the first step. Fresh letters, still oozing sap. They read, "Come up." A cold shiver crawled across my skin. "Did you see that before?" Ethan shook his head. It wasn't there. The staircase had changed. I don't know what came over me. Maybe exhaustion, maybe curiosity, maybe the forest itself. But before Ethan could stop me, I stepped onto the first stair. Nothing happened. I laughed nervously. "See?" Then I climbed the second. Still nothing. Third, fourth, fifth. Each step creaked beneath my boots. Perfectly normal. Yet with every step upward, the sounds of the forest grew quieter. By the seventh step, I couldn't hear Ethan anymore. Not even his breathing. "Ethan?" Silence. I looked down. He was standing exactly where I'd left him. His mouth was moving frantically. He looked terrified. But I couldn't hear a single sound. Not one. I hurried toward the top. When I reached the 13th step, everything changed. The forest vanished. Not faded. Vanished. Instantly. I was standing inside a different forest. The trees were black. The sky glowed crimson. Thousands of staircases stretched toward the horizon, each leading nowhere, each occupied. People stood motionless on every staircase. Men, women, children, old, young. None of them moved. None blinked. They simply stared into the distance. Then every one of them slowly turned their heads toward me, at the exact same moment. My blood froze, because every face looked familiar. Campers from the photographs, the missing ranger, the little girl from the shortcut, even Jake, the friend we'd lost. Jake smiled. Ryan, his voice sounded normal. Too normal. "We've been waiting." I stumbled backward. "What happened to you?" He slowly raised one trembling hand, then pointed upward, above me. I looked. There was no sky, only an enormous wooden ceiling, covered with roots, like we were underneath something unimaginably huge. Then the ceiling moved. The roots weren't roots. They were fingers, thousands of them, slowly curling. Someone grabbed my shoulder. Hard. Suddenly I was falling. I crashed backward onto the grass. Ethan knelt beside me. His face was pale with panic. "You were gone!" "What? You disappeared!" I looked around. The staircase still stood before us, unchanged, peaceful. Impossible. "How long?" I asked. Ethan swallowed. 6 hours. No, it was only a minute. He shook his head. "You climbed 3 steps." He looked ready to cry, and vanished. 3 steps? I remembered climbing 13, meeting Jake, seeing another world. How could that have happened? Then I noticed something in my pocket. A small wooden token. I had never seen it before. Carved into one side was the number 13. On the other side, a single sentence. "You reached the top." I didn't tell Ethan, not yet. We left the staircase behind, or tried to. Every few minutes I looked back. It remained visible far longer than it should have, standing between the trees, watching, waiting. Hours later, we found another clearing. My heart stopped. Another staircase. Exactly the same, except this one had 15 steps. Then another, 9 steps. Another, 21. By sunset, we'd counted 12 different staircases, each alone, each impossible, each facing a different direction. "They're multiplying," I whispered. Ethan slowly shook his head. "No." His voice barely escaped. "I think. They're gathering." That night, we hid inside a collapsed hunting shack. Sleep never came. Around midnight, we heard footsteps outside, not walking, climbing one step, then another, then another. Wood creaked in the darkness. Somewhere outside, someone was climbing a staircase. There wasn't supposed to be one nearby, yet the sound continued, steady, patient, getting closer. Then, a voice. "Jake. Ryan. Pause. Come back." I squeezed my eyes shut. It wasn't him. It couldn't be. The footsteps stopped, exactly 13 steps, no more, no less. Morning finally arrived. The sounds disappeared. The forest looked normal again. Almost. We packed quickly. As we left the shack, I froze. Fresh footprints covered the dirt. One set belonged to Ethan, one set belonged to me, and another set led from the forest straight to the door. 13 footprints, exactly. Then they stopped. No return tracks, nothing. We followed the trail toward higher ground. Near noon, we reached a rocky overlook. The view stole my breath. Not because of its beauty, because scattered across the endless forest were hundreds, maybe thousands, of staircases, some tiny, some enormous, some stretching higher than the trees, all pointing toward the same place, the giant black forest surrounding the impossible tree. The staircases weren't random. They were leading somewhere, like arrows, like invitations or sacrifices. My phone vibrated. No signal, no battery, yet a notification appeared. One new message, unknown sender, only 5 words. "Don't climb the last staircase." Before I could react, the message vanished. The screen cracked by itself. Every crack spread outward until it formed a symbol. A staircase, 13 steps. The ground beneath us trembled. Far away, one of the enormous staircases slowly began rising higher and higher until it disappeared into the clouds. Something was climbing down. Not up. Down. Toward us. Ethan slowly whispered, "It's awake." I couldn't ask what he meant, because I already knew. Whatever had built the staircases had finally realized we had found them, and it was coming, to be continued.